Hi all. In this video, we'll try to understand some of the fundamentals of mundane astrology. So, mundane astrology is the branch of astrology which deals with the worldly events like war, peace among the nations, or earthquakes in a so and so nation, or floods, famines, droughts, plagues, the communal or religious riots and strife, so rise and fall of nations, so different things like duration of a particular government and death and assassination of head of the state or head of the nation or a particular ruler, so economy of a country, general prosperity, and major political events which can affect the nation and life of the people in the nation. So all these things are related to the world events. So by using mundane astrology, we can try predicting all these things. So if you see the word mundane, mundane is a word taken from the Sanskrit word that is Medini, right? So the importance of mundane astrology. So Varahamihira, every time we talk about Varahamihira, whenever we try to understand the mundane astrological stuff, Brihad Samhita is one of the wonderful books to look at, to read, to understand better about the world events and mundane affairs. So Varahamihira is the main person who is behind all this mundane astrological work. So in Brihad Samhita, it's clearly said the astrologer is very much important for a nation. So astrologer is the only person who can really predict the wars and famines, droughts and whatever that can happen to a nation, and can tell the same to the king or the ruler of the country, so that the people are prepared for the situation, and also the king tries to do something to eradicate, to avoid the dangerous situations that can happen to a country. So just as the night devoid of lights is utterly blind and the sun dark, even so will a king grope in life in dark, or like a blind man on the way. So if he is not guided by a good astrologer, so when a ruler is not guided by a good astrologer, the king is almost like a blind man. So he doesn't know what to do and where to go and what has to think and all the stuff. So he had also said that a single astrologer, one who studies the course of destiny, can achieve what 1,000 elephants and 4 times as many horses cannot do. And so astrologer is always a powerful guide, right? Because he can predict so many things that can happen to a nation, and he can warn the ruler, so that the ruler would be prepared and also can save millions and millions of people. So an astrologer can do what a millions of horses or millions of elephants can do, right? Even they cannot do. Even if you employ so many elephants or so many people, even those people or those armed forces cannot do something that an astrologer can do. So this shows the great importance of astrology to guide the politicians and leaders to a better and prosperous future, and to be aware of the pitfalls that may lie ahead. So if you observe use of astrology by kings and emperors of India, so our ancient Indian texts are they have so many references of the Jyotish in the court. So Jyotish means the astrologers used to work in the king's court. So no religious or important ceremonies could take place without consultation of astrologer. So astrologers' consultation is very much important for the festival celebration. So practically every king used to have a court astrologer. in the ancient days. So in the Ramayana of Valmiki, Dasharatha talks of affliction to his Janma Nakshatra, starting and consequent need of coronation of a successor. So the Janma Nakshatra of Dasharatha was afflicted, and it was not so good, right, for the better life of the people of his nation. So clearly, Dasharatha thought of the importance of future generations to rule his nation or to rule his kingdom. So then he himself talked of Pushyami Nakshatra for performing the coronation ceremony. Since Rama's birth was mentioned as having taken place in Cancer Lagna, as Pushyami was considered auspicious, being second from the birth nakshatra. So Pushyami Nakshatra's importance was also talked by Dasharatha in the Ramayana. So Rama Ravana Yuddha, if you observe the war between Rama and Ravana, that was initiated on Amavasya. So it's you can say Amavasya is considered as a good sign for starting a war, because when a war is started on the day of Amavasya, then people believe that only good will win, not the bad. So in that way, Amavasya is considered as a good thing. And if you observe, it ended on the 10th day of Shukla Paksha with killing of Ravana. So again, Mahabharata war was also started on the day of Amavasya. So the name of Varahamihira is often mentioned whenever you try to talk about the mundane events. So because he was one of the greatest astrologers of ancient India, even the world has ever known whenever we talk about the mundane events. So he was also Navaratnas, as means one of the 9 gems or 9 ministers of in the court of King Vikramaditya. So Vikramaditya used to maintain the Navaratnas, the 9 gems, means those were actually people only, but those were the 9 people were the main important people for him to suggest anything related to the kingdom. So among the Navaratnas, Varahamihira was one of the main personalities. Of course, there were only 9. So he was one of the 9 important members of the court of King Vikramaditya. So just observe the importance of astrology, and just observe the luck of the King Vikramaditya. He had the greatest astrologer ever known to the world. It's Varahamihira in his court. So Jyotish in ancient India, if you observe, religion was an important factor of the for Hindus, even for India, religion was one of the fundamental things, and it's one of the important things, you can say. So religion is actually, it is, instead of taking it as a separate thing, it is practiced in the life. When you observe a Hindu, means a Vedantist, so you can understand every important celebration, it's an individual level or street level or anything in national level, any important festival is always celebrated based on muhurta, is the auspicious time, the correct time to perform a festival. It's called as muhurta. Even if you want to start anything, so we need to check the auspicious time, that is called as muhurta. So the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are, if you check in the references, they have ample of references about nakshatras. Ramayana, Mahabharata, full of astrology, right? So muhurta and birth at auspicious or inauspicious times is the most mentioning things in the Ramayana and Mahabharata also. So Valmiki refers to the planetary combinations at the time of birth of Sri Ramachandra and his brothers also even. So Lord Rama was born on the 9th lunar day of the Chaitra Masa, when 5 planets were in own houses, or you can say exalted. Some are exalted, like if you observe the horoscope of Lord Sri Ramachandra, the time Mars was in Capricorn, Saturn was in Libra, so exalted, and Jupiter was in Cancer. Jupiter was also exalted at the time of birth of Sri Ramachandra. So Venus was in Meena, so which was also exalted, and Moon is its own Rashi. So he was born in Punarvasu Nakshatra. Lord Sri Rama was born in Punarvasu Nakshatra, and the Karka Lagna means it's Karkataka Lagna or Cancer Lagna, you say. So the moon was in the Lagna with Jupiter in Punarvasu Nakshatra. So we will try to talk about about great so many great people, different horoscopes of great people. Even if you observe the Lord Sri Krishna's horoscope, the astrological description was given in the Garga Samhita. So in the Garga Samhita, it's clearly mentioned when Lord Sri Krishna was born, that was the Bhadrapada Masa, the Krishna Paksha, Rohini Nakshatra. He was born in Rohini Nakshatra. The Harshana Yoga is also present on the Ashtami Tithi. So generally Sri Krishna's birthday is actually celebrated on Sri Krishnashtami. There was different, of course, Taurus ascendant. Lord Sri Krishna was born in Taurus ascendant. We'll try to talk about Lord Sri Krishna's birth horoscope in some other video, but these are some of the simplest things that I want to just tell you, because Lord Sri Ramachandra and Lord Sri Krishna, these two people have a lot of importance in India, because remaining people were gods in different forms, but these two people are actually they took the human form. And even Lord Buddha is also treated as an incarnation of Lord Sri Mahavishnu. We'll talk about Lord Buddha's horoscope in our upcoming video, or one of the videos we'll talk about that. So that's it. We'll talk about Lord Buddha's horoscope in the next video. Thanks for watching this video.